Yo, what is up everybody, it's Jay the Great here and welcome back to another Naruto reaction video here today. And today we once again have a great video by the great Naruto Explained, and as you can tell the title, this is Boruto's time skip was a lot darker than what Naruto experienced, the honest truth. So folks, as we all know, recently chapter 81 of the Boruto manga dropped and we got some very interesting revelations. Right, we got the time skip and we got the sort of setup chapter that we'll need for what I believe to be the climax of the Boruto narrative, at least in the foreseeable future. Right, so what we know, spoiler alert of course if you haven't read the chapter, the time skip was a 3-year gap. Boruto is 3 years older, he even looks older physically, just from his appearance, he's taller, more matured, etc. And just from his face and aesthetic, it seems like his life the last 3 years have been quite tough, quite challenging, right? It seems like he went through some trials and tribulations. We get some revelations that the Anbu are after him and Sasuke, that the omnipotence jutsu is still thriving in the minds of many throughout the globe who are indoctrinated by Ida's omnipotence and into believing that Naruto was killed by Boruto and that Kawaki's his son, etc. So we got this sort of setup chapter where they're setting up for the climax, that being the most likely battle to ensue between Boruto, Code, and Kawaki. Right, we got all that set up. We see Sarada grown up. We see Shikamaru as Hokage, still believing Boruto to be a threat. We get more insight into the omnipotence jutsu and how it is so enticing that even common sense contradictions don't compute in an individual's mind who is currently indoctrinated by the omnipotence jutsu, right? I see throughout Twitter, for example, people say, oh, how would people believe Kawaki is Boruto's son when Boruto literally looks like Naruto? Well, it's revealed why in the chapter, right? Like I said, the reason why is because the omnipotent jutsu is so enticing and so potent that individuals that are caught up in it will not compute that common sense deduction that would be computed by someone not caught in the omnipotence jutsu like Sarada, like Sumire, for example. Right, so it's a truly brainwashing and indoctrinating technique, which is why it is a shinjutsu. It is a reality warping ability to those that are indoctrinated and brainwashed by it. Right, so that's a very powerful technique, hence it being a shinjutsu. Alright, so I'm actually very interested to see what Naruto Explained has to say about this, what he will extrapolate from the new chapter, etc. Can't wait to see it. But before we begin, analysts greatly appreciate it. Hit that like button, turn on bell notifications to stay updated with yours truly. And if you're new and you enjoy, man, and you mess with the kid, make sure to hit that sub button, because once you do, you become part of the family forever. Let's not waste any more time. Screen. Let's see what Naruto Explained says today.
Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion on the fallout from Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 1. And now that everyone's had a chance to read the chapter, there's a huge bit of information that was revealed to us in the chapter that we got to discuss, which is the revelation that Boruto's time skip was definitely a lot darker than his own father's time skip was in Naruto, between Naruto volumes 27 and volume 28. In the opening chapter of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, we learned that it wasn't just Boruto training with Sasuke, looking over his shoulder every now and then for Konoha Anbu Black Op that was hunting them down, because Ada's Shinjutsu made everyone believe that Boruto killed Naruto, and by extension that Sasuke was helping the killer of the Hokage escape. No, on top of that, Boruto for the last 3 years has spent 2 of those years being hunted down by Code, and this is extremely big in terms of a reveal that the manga just gave us. One of the biggest things about Boruto Part 1 was we were all counting down to what Momoshiki told us would eventually happen, that those blue eyes would take everything away from Boruto. And for the longest time, many people assumed that Momoshiki was speaking about Boruto, since earlier in the Momoshiki arc, Sarada had remarked that Boruto's eyes were bluer than Naruto's, and at the end of the arc she said the same thing again. However, fast forward several chapters to the end of the final arc of Boruto Part 1, and we learned that it was actually Ada's blue eyes. Her Senrigan is what took everything away from Boruto, because the Senrigan would cast the omnipotence Shinjutsu that would switch the lives of Boruto and Kawaki in everyone's mind. Boruto was now the ungrateful outcast who killed the Hokage and killed his wife, and Kawaki was now the favorite son of Konoha. In the arc that so many fans have dubbed the Boruto Prophecy arc, even the Boruto Weekend Shiki is calling it the prophecy arc. We saw Boruto fulfill that prophecy, and we learned that when Kawaki told us in chapter 1 this was his story and not the story of his father, the boy who wanted to become the Hokage, he actually wasn't lying. Naruto's story started with nothing and he gained everything, whereas Boruto started his story with everything and he lost everything. Momoshiki appeared shocked in Boruto chapter 80 that Boruto's mental toughness was as strong as it was to not break after everything that happened, and it was this very toughness that would be put on the test during Boruto's time skip, because sometime after that, Code made good on this threat at the end of Boruto chapter 80 to hunt down Boruto. 2 years of running from someone like Code is not an easy thing to do. Those claw marks can be placed anywhere, as we saw in the Code Assault arc. He can place them on objects and surrounding buildings to peek through them, and he can travel between the claw marks, and he can even place the claw marks on unsuspecting people, which allows him to come out of those claw marks, as we saw in this new chapter, and he can pull 10-tailed soldiers out of them, and those 10-tailed soldiers can pull out more 10-tailed soldiers. Imagine for a second, put yourself inside of Boruto's shoes, being Boruto and not only being on the run from Konoha, but trying to keep a low profile and not draw any attention to yourself, because Konoha is likely sending out word to the other Kages about what happened to Naruto, that Boruto killed him, that Sasuke helped him escape, and Boruto not only has to watch out for Konoha's Anbu Black Ops, but now shinobi from other villages, both the 5 major nations as well as all the smaller nations that joined the Shinobi Union under Kakashi's tenure as Hokage. Imagine trying to stay under the radar on the continent, but you're constantly having Code and his entire army of 10-tailed soldiers popping up to attack you. You'd have to fight the battle and somehow get out of the area before other shinobi can come to investigate, both to keep from being captured as well as place those shinobi in danger by being in the middle of a confrontation with someone like Code, who would not hesitate to kill them, or even worse, use them as leverage against you. Boruto might be branded as a criminal, but he still was raised as the son of the Hokage. He was still raised with a high moral fiber, and Boruto would not want anyone to suffer for something that he would actually take to heart as being his fault. That's not the Boruto we saw in Boruto Part 1. This means on top of wrapping up fights quickly, Boruto has to try to quickly get away to safety and start all over again. Every hour of every day, never sure where Code might pop up again. Unsure if the smiling face that he sees in a random village is actually another shinobi in disguise, looking to cash in on the bounty on him. Never knowing if he'd accidentally run into one of his friends like Shikadai, who was hunting him down because they believe he killed the Hokage, and the prospects of having to fight his friends. Even worse, having to monitor his chakra levels all the same, because once his chakra drops below a certain percentage on his health bar, Momoshiki will take over control, and at that point, anyone, friend or foe, is in danger of being killed, and you won't be able to do anything to stop it. That is a lot of mental wear and tear for someone like Boruto.
Trials and tribulations.
Why Boruto's demeanor is so different than it was in Part 1. He's lost his smile for a really good reason. He can't sleep in the house that he grew up in. The friends he grew up with, they're now hunting him down. His parents are sealed away into a dimension he can't get access to on his own. His adopted brother is trying to kill him. The village he wanted to protect from the shadows all wants him dead. And he's got Code hunting him down for 2 years straight. However, the bright side in all this that we're seeing right now is that Boruto's situation is going to do 2 things. One, it's going to allow for a bigger payoff when Boruto is embraced by the village again and proven to be innocent. 2, it will also explain why Boruto has suddenly leveled up to a degree that he has, that he's able to not only step on Code's face without him actually realizing it, but then when Code tried to attack him moments later, Boruto easily dodged the attack, despite Code being stronger than someone like Jigen, who destroyed Naruto and Sasuke in Boruto episode 204, but also doing so in his base, not even showing a hint of his true power in the process. I've said before a lot how Boruto showcases Ikimoto's love for Dragon Ball with the art, and how the fights and some of the paneling is an attempt to try and capture elements of Dragon Ball when Ikimoto's drawing the manga, but Masashi Kishimoto, the Naruto series creator, the one who's writing Boruto's story, Kishimoto on more than one occasion has talked about Dragon Ball's influence as a mangaka, which makes a lot of sense given that before the big 3 of One Piece, Naruto and Bleach. The main heavy hitters for Weekly Shonen Jump were Rurouni Kenshin, Yu Yu Hakusho, and Dragon Ball, with the latter inspiring a generation of mangaka like Masashi Kishimoto. Boruto being hunted down by Code and constantly battling him is reminiscent to what happened to future Gohan in Dragon Ball's manga. After all the Z fighters were killed by Cyborg 17 and 18, Gohan spent the next decade plus of his childhood growing up into a grown man, fighting against the cyborgs in a constant life and death battle, and constantly hiding because they for a time were hunting him down. Boruto is obviously Gohan. He's the hero hunted down by the evil biomechanical threat. And Code is obviously Cyborg 17 and 18, because Code, like them, was a human who was transformed into a cyborg by Amado's ninja tech, the same way that Dr. Gero took 17 and 18 and transformed their human bodies into
Amado's the equivalent
biomechanical beings. Biomechanical being humans with artificial enhancements. However, unlike Gohan, who would eventually be killed by those cyborgs, we see that Boruto, through the constant life and death battles, has actually evolved in the process, and he's grown stronger. And right now, an argument can be made he's actually stronger than Code just because of how easily he was toying with them. Was Code in his base and not using karma? Yes, let's get that out the way right now. However, Boruto was also in base, but there's a huge difference, and it's why I believe Boruto's gotten stronger, due to Code constantly chasing him. Code literally told us he was trying to draw out Boruto and was trying to kill him. Code might have been in his base, but that attack where he went at Boruto, he immediately used this ninja tech and
certainly killer intent.
Effort to hit on him due to the intensity of his gaze before he attacked. Sure, he could have used karma, but with Boruto right in his face, cutting on the karma seal would have been a huge red flag to Boruto that I'm about to attack you. Whereas you at least gamble and hope that he doesn't see your attack with the ninja tech coming, because he's looking directly at you and he's talking trash. You're basically hoping to catch him somewhat off guard. Code might very well have just dug his own grave by hunting down Boruto and attacking him constantly during the time skip. Boruto already had motivation to get stronger because he wants to defeat Kawaki. He wants to rescue his parents. But now with Code constantly trying to kill him, nature's taken over, and Boruto's been forced to evolve in the process because he's been forced into stimulation, which is only going to force him to grow stronger to survive the threat that has been coming for him constantly. There was always a strong chance Boruto was going to surpass Code. It's something that Code himself might have at least considered the possibility of, assuming he wasn't the cliche shonen villain who arrogantly overlooks the progress of the main character. But with this one decision to constantly engage in battle with Boruto, Code has guaranteed that Boruto will surpass him because he's pushed him into a corner. And right now, Boruto is cornered and dragged back to Konoha. He has nowhere else to go except for right through Code in the process, not just for his own safety's sake, as well as for the larger planet's sake, because Code wants to harvest a chakra fruit in order to become an Otsutsuki. I find this dynamic.
By the way, I'll get my thoughts after the video, folks. This is a shorter video, so
I hope that we
let it play through and then I'll get my thoughts.
In the manga or in the anime that show us more of what happened during this time. However, in the meantime, make sure to check out these other Naruto Explained videos you see on the screen. Great video. So, like Naruto Explained said it nice at the beginning of this video, Chapter 81 was very telling. Now, many are discussing Boruto versus Code, right? And at best, currently, we can make a premise via induction that Boruto is superior to Code, right? There are several empirical pieces of evidence to extrapolate from that just one encounter, even with how minuscule in length it was, right? Like Naruto Explained said himself. One, Code wasn't using his karma. Boruto wasn't using his karma. However, he did try to strike Boruto, and as we know, he certainly has killer intent because of his sort of dogmatic devotion to the Otsutsuki clan, right? He has like this fundamentalist devotion towards the Otsutsuki clan and to follow their every way and to fulfill their desires, right? So he certainly has a high amount of motivation to dispose of Boruto, and more than likely tried to at the end of Chapter 81 or Chapter 1 of the Two Blue Vortex series of Boruto, right? Which is a continuation, of course. So the argument that Boruto and Code are at least relative is certainly very credible currently. Certainly. And it's very telling as to Boruto's ability, right? As we know, No Limiter Code was stated to be even above Jiken, the same individual that thoroughly defeated Naruto and Sasuke at their best. Right. Code's above that.
And Boruto was able to contend with that. So clearly, from the plot twist to chapter 1 of Two Blue Vortex, Boruto's rate of growth has been substantial. His caliber has increased substantially, and his overall ability is now improved substantially. Because of that, I would also deduce Kawaki's is most likely as well, right? To make the narrative appealing and enticing, they're going to have to make the battle between Kawaki and Boruto competitive, implying relativity. So he as well is probably above Naruto and Sasuke at this point as well, right? The passing the torch has already been done. Now their stories are being written, right? They are the top of the verse now, besides Ida and Damon, of course, and Shibai out there, theoretically. So with that comes their own legacy, their own story. Now, like Naruto Explained said, and I have said many times, trials and tribulations was what was going to make Boruto hardened, right? War hardens you, right? Tough times harden and callous your mind and your mentality, your mental fortitude, right? So clearly Boruto has went through many trials and tribulations, being a global terrorist to everyone in the shinobi world, thanks to omnipotence. And Naruto Explained made a very good comparison between Naruto and Boruto. Naruto was a guy that started with nothing and gained everything, while conversely, Boruto was a shinobi that had everything and then lost everything. A good saying to sort of encapsulate this sort of comparison and dichotomy is, hard times create strong men create weak times, and weak times create weak men, right? So essentially, Naruto was hardened by his childhood, by the trials and tribulations that he endured. And what happened after that? Well, he defeated the big bad wolf in Madara Uchiha, he defeated Kaguya, and he became the strong man that would implement peace in soft times. And Boruto was born in soft times, peaceful times. And what happened? Eventually hard times came, right? Because the strong man, the strong shinobi that once defended Earth is no longer around, aka Naruto, right? He's sealed away and nerfed. He's no longer the strong man that could keep the peaceful times. He was born in a peaceful time. He had it all. But what's happening now? Tough times have hardened him into a stronger shinobi, both mentally and physically as well. That's why the saying never fails. That's the cyclical nature of life. It's always this cycle of peaks and valleys. And right now, Boruto's in the valley. But what's the advantage to that? It has hardened him, and it has exponentially increased his rate of growth and ability. It was necessary. Ironically, tough times and trials and tribulations are necessary to reach the next step of evolution, right? And this is the evolution of Boruto Uzumaki. Before our very eyes, we see him as a kid with a silver spoon in his mouth, and now we see him as this hardened sort of veteran in the shinobi verse, taking on the world's greatest threats, such as Code, such as Kawaki, etc. So, I'm actually happy with the direction of the Boruto narrative. I think that having simply a replica narrative of the Naruto narrative isn't the way to go, and Kishimoto is certainly aware of that, and he has twisted it to where Boruto has his own unique story. You know, Boruto's not Naruto. Boruto doesn't have the same aspirations Naruto has. He doesn't have political aspirations. He doesn't want to be Hokage. You know, he doesn't have those aspirations. He is a unique character. He's a blend of Sasuke and Naruto. He has Naruto's conviction, and he has Sasuke's stoicism. He has both, right? And with these trials and tribulations, he's sort of setting his feet into his own ways. He's kind of transitioning into his own man now, right? He's his own entity who has his own convictions. Now, what I predict and what seems to be the case is that Boruto wants to defend his father's honor. He wants to defend the ideological symbol that was Naruto Uzumaki. The ideology that the shinobi way should be hard work and dedication leads to success, not God-given power leads to success, right? Which is the sort of antithetical ideology that Kawaki is behind and the Otsutsuki are behind, We see that ideological clash when Momo fights Naruto and Sasuke, right? Naruto and Sasuke say, you didn't earn this power. You're a fraud, right? Momo says, I don't need to earn it. I'm a god already, right? So there is that ideological clash, and Naruto and Sasuke won. But once they fought Ishiki, the ideology faded away with them. As they were defeated, so was their ideology, right? So Boruto's trying to defend that now. He's trying to do whatever he can to defend his father's honor, Sasuke's honor, in the shinobi way of the older generation. Right, so we have Kawaki and Boruto and Code at odds. They all have different objectives. They have contradictory ideas and ideologies, and objectives is obviously inevitably leading to conflict, physical conflict. And that's the way that this is going to be settled, right? So I'm very, very happy with the direction of the narrative. Kishimoto did a brilliant job giving suspense and thrill and emotional appeal in this chapter. It created a sense of curiosity amongst the fandom, right? We're all wondering what's next. That's due to great writing, due to great illustration, due to great symbolic representation. It was very, very well done by Kishimoto. Dark times are coming, and I don't think the dark times are going away anytime soon, and I'm okay with that. I want to see Boruto deal with hardship. He really hasn't in his career. Right? He's only a kid, right? But he hasn't dealt with hardship. His father has taken care of most problems. Right? Momo, Ishiki, etc. You know, the Kara inners, the Kara outers. So now Boruto has to prove himself and has to get his hands dirty. So that's what I'm waiting for. And that's my thoughts on the video, folks. Very good video. I could talk about the narrative forever, but of course, I don't want to talk your guys' ear off. But of course, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree with me and Naruto Explained? Is this the right direction? Is it the wrong direction? Are you in the middle? Whatever the case may be, make sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. This is Jay the Great signing out. Peace.